Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Running Through the Jungles Friday night NFL Pick'em Show with your host, Justin Lacey. He's to my right or to my left. I don't even know. He's over there in Cincinnati. Yeah. That's where he's at. His ass is over in Cincinnati. And I'm your host, Tim Lyons. I'm in Seattle, Washington. Welcome, everybody. You know, we had a pretty decent week last week, Justin. You know, you went 10-6.
Still bad.
I went 9-7. Overall, you're 90-55. I'm 93-52. You know, the Falcons done it again to us. And
the Carolina Panthers.
The Saints won against the damn Carolina Panthers. Like, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a high possibility I might be picking the Saints tonight on this show. But anyways, before we get into the show, Justin, I know you're in Cincinnati. You know, we were just talking about your day and how it's going in the Cincinnati traffic. But other than that, I know you haven't been having a very good day because the littlest things will piss us off and make it bad. But you're smiling. Yeah. How's your day going, bud?
You know what? Overall, I'm doing okay just because this is the final weekend that you can just have a free weekend before all of the holiday festivities happen. If you're trying to run any last-minute errands, whether if it's last-minute Christmas shopping or grocery shopping, it's going to be jam-packed and crowded. Tonight's the night where you want to start getting that stuff out there because next week is Christmas, next Thursday. And many people already have that week scheduled off of work or whatever, and they're going on vacation. So for me personally, it was just annoying to deal with the traffic flow and the nightmare because I don't mind large crowds, but when it comes to running errands, you start to get annoyed at the smallest thing. Whether if you're driving behind somebody that's really slow in traffic, whether if it's you're in the grocery store and then it's like you need something out of an aisle and then a couple of people are blocking you there and you're trying to be able to, you're trying to be nice and polite and say, hey, excuse me. Yep. And then next thing you know, you get to that aisle and get to what you think you need, only to find out that, well, it's all gone. They just took the last bit, and now you got to come up with some more stuff. So it's frustrating to deal with small stuff like that. But I also understand that, man, it's the holidays. And at the end of the day, man, this is what it is on a year-to-year basis. It's nothing new, okay? But other than that, man, yeah, as far as picks go, I just kind of gone from the understanding like, look, man, I'm just having fun with the selections. I didn't get off to a nice little start last Thursday night's game. But the slew of NFL games last week, it was just fun to sit back and watch. Although you and I didn't have a great time as Bengals fans because at the end of the day, well, I told you last week during our Pick'em show, I didn't feel good about picking the Cincinnati Bengals to win last week, even though I did pick them to win because I just thought that the Ravens were the dead man team walking. And I thought that the Bengals were going to just shake off a little bit of that rust into, or not even just rust, shake off the previous loss to the Bills on the road. They still played good, in my opinion. It was just an elite quarterback duel, and that they was going to be able to return home, get the fans excited. Joe Burrow's playing in his first home game since week 2, only just to basically just shit the bed and literally just give up on the season. That game just literally felt like that they just checked out. They didn't score a single point. But we're not here to just talk only about the Bengals. But that was really depressing. Even though I did get some picks right ultimately, and I was just ultimately checked out because the Bengals really kind of forced me to be that way.
Yeah, you know, I get it, man. But you still had a good week. You went 10-7. You know,
I didn't even know I had that many wins.
If you bet on those games, or I'm sorry, you went 10-6. My bad. 10-6.
10-6, yeah.
10-6. If you bet on those 10 games, you would have brought home money anyways. You still would have brought home money. You know, I went 9-7. I would have brought home some money too, but not as much as you. You know, we're doing good. Actually, I think we're doing really well from when we started. Like I said, you're 90-55. You picked 90 games correctly. Yeah. I've picked 93 games correctly out of this NFL season. You know, if we were a betting show, we'd be doing pretty damn good. We would have some money in our pockets.
We would. And you know what? Also, too, I'm gonna tip my cap to you because you were the one that called it last week. I mean, we both kind of called it in a sense, but I just thought like Kansas City and the LA Chargers, they were home.
Mm.
Let the Chiefs were at home, and I was thinking that, you know what, their season's not done. They're going to be able to force the stakes a little bit higher to show that they really wanted that. And it was a good game, even though it was kind of mid to low scoring or whatever. But man,
Right.
tip my cap to the Chargers for being able to pull out the win. That defense showed up once again. It wasn't really the Chargers offense that impressed me whatsoever, but they completed the season sweep. They got the win. Jim Harbaugh, he really instilled culture for this LA Chargers team, for real. Like, you can tell that their main mission statement was, you got to beat the big dogs on the mountaintop. And that's been Kansas City for years. And yes, I get it. The Denver Broncos, they're the leader of the clubhouse in that AFC West division, but they're not far off from being able to complete and knock them off as well too. But everybody knows that the class of the AFC West, almost sounded like Mike Tyson there for a second, was the Kansas City Chiefs. And unfortunately now,
it was the class of the AFC East, Robin. It was just, we are out there throwing some gloves, and the Chargers just came above.
Oh man, hey Mike Tyson, if you ever get a chance to listen to the show, we apologize. We don't want no smoke. Okay, them hands are still deadly, even in, if I say, even at post 60. But your accent funny still. But yeah. So, but yeah, no, I got to tip my cap to you because you called that one correctly as well. Again, another one of those picks where I didn't feel good about picking the Chiefs based off how they looked all season, and I understood why the takes where they were. But yeah, man, you called that one really accurately. So tip my cap to you on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's get into it, but let me first say hello, Austin Art. Hello, anybody else that is watching or listening. We appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share with your friends. We will be here every week. Next week, it might be a little bit different. We don't know yet. We'll see. Depends on what Justin's got going on. I know he's a busy man. I got to work on Friday after Christmas, so I'm game for whenever. And then also with the Running Through the Jungle podcast, we need to talk about that in the chat too, and see how we're going to handle our roaring reactions and our game preview for next week versus the Cardinals, I believe. So, but let's get into it. Justin, man, what a great freaking game last night, man. The Rams versus the Seahawks.
Yeah.
The Seahawks and Rams take it to overtime. The Seahawks go for a 2-point conversion at the end and win 38-7. The Seahawks were down at one time 30 was it 30-14 or 16?
Yep.
Whatever.
30-14. Yeah,
30-14. And they came back and just punt return for a touchdown. Sam Darnold, the first half was seeing ghosts. It was the Sam Darnold of the Jets pass that showed up in the first half. But man, the Seahawks pull it off. And guess what, y'all? Justin and I are 1-0 to start the week. 1-0. We picked the Seahawks to beat the Rams. But Justin, you know what? Tell your people how you felt about this game.
I wasn't feeling good early on, especially when Seattle was down 16 points in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, this is going to be another one of those stupid picks. Even though when you and I both picked this game before it even launched, we understood what the direction it was headed. The Seahawks were at home. And now, much to the chagrin that I've always mentioned about the road team on Thursday Night Football, the Rams are one of those teams that can go on the road in any environment and pull off an upset win on a Thursday night. So I wasn't really worried about that part when it came to that Rams team. But Seattle was always built differently when they're at home, especially. You got the 12th man behind them. That's always been a historic thing. But that Seattle defense has always been a spectacular unit all season long. They've lived up to every expectation. But then they got down on the scoreboard. Then Sam Darnold started making turnovers. But all those turnovers happened in the Rams territory when they were about ready to be in prime position to score. So they were always moving the ball up and down the field on that Rams defense, even though I'm impressed with the Rams defense too. But then, and this is where I started to feel somewhat of a glimmer of hope, was when they forced the 3-and-out by the Rams and they had the kickoff punt return for a touchdown, and then they went for 2 and got it. Then that's when I was like, okay, this is going to probably be working out well for them. There's some hope there. And then they forced another 3-and-out. And then the Seattle Seahawks got another touchdown when they got the ball back. But then the crazy 2-point conversion happened to where I thought it was going to just be ruled incomplete just because, the ball was ruled laterally. But when they did the replay, the extended replay, I was like, wow, that did kind of travel backwards. And then it just deflected off of the guy's hand and went forward. And then nobody thought of it. But the Seahawks player just casually just picked up the ball in the end zone. And they just ruled it a 2-point conversion that actually got them to tie the game at that point.
Yep.
It was impressive. I couldn't believe it. Because I was like,
luck.
That was pure dumb luck. That just does not happen. But even if that didn't get ruled a completed 2-point conversion try, the Seahawks was down 30-28. I still felt somewhat good about their chances. But then again, you got the favorite of the MVP on the other side, and Matthew Stafford. He was still whizzing those balls downfield too. He was making some clutch throws on third down, and I was thinking to myself, this is probably going to be Matthew Stafford's MVP moment. And he didn't do it enough in regulation. It ended up going in the overtime. But even then, I felt like Matt Stafford delivered. It was just unfortunately the Seahawks got the ball second, and they also delivered. And then they got a 2-point They did another 2-point conversion to just go for the win. What a ballsy call by Mike McDonald, but they already had that ready and prepared and planned in place. Both coaches was on fire that night for that game. Nothing bad that I'm going to say about anybody. I just think that, look, at the end of the day, these are two heavyweights in the NFC West. Now the Seattle Seahawks are in the driver's seat in first place, tops of the division. Do I still think that they can win this? And do I think that they will ultimately win the NFC West? I don't know. But, man, this is one step forward because, again, I don't see the Rams losing any games anytime soon after last night. So it's one of those things, man, like I don't still know who's going to come out on top. But I can't wait to see how it boils down the stretch.
Yeah, you know, what's funny is I'm looking at the stats. I know you guys can see it on my screen. Matt Stafford threw for 457 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was 29 for 49. Puka Nacua had 225 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, and to lose the game by 1 point. You know, it was a classic battle. It was great. You know, it was great to see, you know, because like I said, I'm in Seattle, you know, my mother-in-law and whole family side, they're all Seahawks fans, you know, and I'm rooting for, I'm rooting for my hometown team as well over here on the NFC side, right. You know, but if it's head toe to toe Bengals versus Seahawks, I'm taking I'm a diehard Bengals fan. I've always have been, but it was a great game. It was impressive just to see that the Seahawks took that 1-game lead, you know, and the thing is if the 49ers win this week, the 49ers will be in second place over the Rams.
That's right.
And the Seahawks still have, I believe, they still have the, you know what, let's just, instead of me saying I believe, but I do believe that the Seahawks do have the 49ers left to play. Let's see here. Let me see.
Bear with us, Yaz, as we kind of looking in ahead to the.
Sorry, I just want to see who they have left to play, and of course, I'm failing miserably here.
I mean, we thought it was going to just be like right there, but you know,
I figured it would have showed me, but it doesn't. But I believe here. You know what? Let me just do it this way because it's probably going to be quicker. I'll just go in here, Seahawks schedule.
You know what? And while you do that, I'm going to kind of talk to the people a little bit regarding the race of the NFC West. Bottom line is this division is still kind of wide open. There's still left to be determined regarding who's going to ultimately come down on top. I can't wait to see how it all shakes down in because you just mentioned it. I completely forgot about the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Just because they're not as overly talented as the Rams and the Seahawks are, in my opinion. But, man, that team is still winning games. All three guys have great head coaches, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDonald, and Sean McVay, as we already know, who has a championship ring. Man, it's just this is what great coaching looks like. And as Bengals fans, as we're sitting here thinking of mulling over the future of what the team is going to look like in the next upcoming offseason and whatnot, We know that we just ain't got one of those dogs at head coach that can win and elevate the talent around them and sort of help prepare and game plan, and then just develop a mentally tough football team. That's the thing. What I was super impressed with Seattle from last night's game was that they showed mental toughness of not being scared of going against somebody who's probably going to win the MVP in Matt Stafford, and they didn't roll over. They was like, you know what, screw that, we're going to go for the win too. Like we got some dogs on our squad too, and you know what, they actually went out there and got it, and I'm so proud of them, man. It was like you said, a fantastic game.
Yeah, so the Seahawks have the 49ers and the Panthers left on their schedule. The Rams have the Falcons and the Cardinals left on their schedule. So, you know, but from what I'm understood during the Thursday night football game on Amazon Prime, they were talking about if the Seahawks were to win tonight and if the 49ers were to win this week, they could take the second place spot over the Rams. So I don't know how much set in stone that is, but anyways, it's going to be a battle over there in the NFC West. The NFC West is, you know, those. I believe that we have a Super Bowl contender of these two teams, and I'm not going to kick out the 49ers either, because the 49ers, they have been battling through injuries and winning football games still.
Right.
So,
right.
But anyways, let's get on to the rest of the show, because I know the people aren't here for us just to talk about Thursday night football. So the second game up starting at wait a minute. This is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Well, at 3 at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m. the Eagles 9-5 versus the 4-10 Commanders. 44.5 over under. It's a 7-point spread. Justin, you already know what I said about the Eagles last week. I wasn't going to pick the Eagles no more, but I did pick the Eagles over the Raiders. But Justin, who are you taking? You taking the Eagles or the Commanders?
Yeah, you got to take the Eagles again, bro. I understand that they haven't been a trustworthy team. They haven't been a trustworthy pick. Come on, man. They can't. The Commanders today have officially stuck a fork into this season. They're done. All right, they're starting Marcus Mariota, their quarterback. They've already said, and this is where we're at with this season. Okay, there are teams that are vying and jockeying for playoff positioning, and that they're going to be in it to the end. But then there's also teams that are really just flat out done. Sure, there could be an opportunity here for the Commanders to play spoiler on the Eagles season, but I just don't see that. I'm just going to keep it simple here, bro. I think that the Eagles are going to get this one pretty easily, pretty comfortably. 7-point spread. They're 7-point favorites here in this game. I kind of like that number.
All right. Sorry. Who are you taking? I was talking to the dog.
Eagles. Eagles.
All right. So you're taking the Eagles. You know what? Should I go with what I said last week? I wasn't picking the Eagles anymore unless it was an obvious win. I'm because I'm picking the Eagles over the Commanders as well. You know, the Commanders just, you know, they're not having a great season. The Eagles offense is not having a great season, but they're winning football games against shitty teams. So, you know what? I'm taking the Eagles over the Commanders. Next up is the 8:20 game tomorrow on Saturday. The 9-4-1 Packers versus the 10-4 Bears. 46.5 over under. It's a 1.5 point spread. You know what? The Packers, you know, they suffered a great injury, a loss with Micah Parsons. You could kind of tell that last week when they were playing against the Broncos after he went down. You know, the Broncos offense kind of just moved the ball whenever they wanted to. And I'm going to take the Bears over the Packers. Justin, I know I'm going out on a limb here. I'm taking the Bears, but who are you taking?
I don't disagree with you as far as like your pick of the Bears over the Packers. I thought the same thing too. I haven't been sold on the Packers since they let me down last week. I mean, they're still a team that you know that they're going to be contending in the playoffs. They've been pegged to, you know, make it to the Super Bowl, especially with the Micah Parsons trade. And even without Micah Parsons on that defense, I still like the Packers defense in this one. But at the end of the day, man, the Chicago Bears, they're a perfect team to give them fits at home this time. So Man, this is going to be tough, man, because I do want to follow suit, but I guess I'll be different in this one. I think that I'll stick with Green Bay in this one here. But, man, I will not be surprised if the Bears finally pull this one out and they split the season series with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I even said when we were picking the Bears versus the Packers in Lambeau, I said, I'm picking the Packers, but I think the Bears win their next meeting. And I
said the same thing too. Yeah. I wanted to do the same thing too.
Yeah, this is their next meeting. And I think the Bears have one leg up, but I know that they're short Roma Doomsday and Luther Burden. I think that's what the other guy's name is. I think he's out as well, but I still think the Bears pull it off. So yeah, like I said, I'm taking the Bears.
And to be honest, too, Roma Doomsday really haven't really kind of lived up to those,
second
year expectations for real.
But he's also missed a lot of games this year too. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm saying basically is that the Bears offense have been Ben Johnson is able to craft a playbook without having to deal with him. So, without having to, in his absence, they've been able to adjust just fine. So while that is a loss for them, and I'm sure that they miss him having out there on the field, I think the impact value is not going to be really needed there because Caleb Williams, he can make damn near any throw on the field. So, but again, right. I like where you're going with that because, again, I'm with you. I was one of those also said that I think they split and then the Bears get one and the Packers get one. But I since had to change my tune just a little bit here. And while I'm going against the grain of what I said before, I think that I'll go ahead and pick the Packers, even though it's like one of those, I don't know if I feel good about it.
Yeah, I just have that feeling. I just have a feeling for the Packers, or excuse me, for the Bears this week. Next one up is a Sunday game at 1 p.m. The Bengals are going to Miami to play against the Dolphins. Bengals are 4-10, of course, as we know. Dolphins are 6-8, 4.5 point spread, 47.5 over under. I already gave my prediction on running through the jungle, but I'll tell you guys I picked the Bengals to win this. Justin, since you were not on the show, go ahead, buddy. Who you picking?
If you're the Bengals, you better win this game because this is going to be a damn disappointment if you don't. The game started off that the Dolphins were 1-point favorites. Then they benched Tua, and then they released Matt Judon, and then it's full on and clear that they're just in valuation mode. So that's why the line has moved from 1-point favorite Dolphins to now 4.5 point favorites to Bengals. I am just going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to be like, you know what? I need to see more from this Bengals team, period, before I pick them to win another game this year. They should win this game. They should. They are the favorite. They should. Joe Burrow's still running out there. But the vibes are just way too off with this Bengals team, in my opinion, that I would not be surprised if they were to lose this game. But I am going to pick the Bengals to win this game, okay? I'm not a Bengals dumbass, okay? I am going to pick the Bengals.
You're a softie.
Yeah. I know I kind of teased a little bit there that I was going to pick the Dolphins just out of like this weird superstition that they're going to, do the opposite. If the Bengals lose, they just lose. Whatever. We'll just complain like we always do about the front office and the Bengals organization. It is what it is. But I do think the Bengals are the better team, even if they did have Tua start. And if this was a game that mattered to the Dolphins faithful, I still think the Bengals are better. They just didn't play like it on Sunday against the Ravens because they play like a team that quit. So they better not quit on this game, even though the season's over. It is what it is, though.
Yeah. As a Bengals fan, I just want to quit on them this season as well. But I still want to see what kind of sparks that we can see out there in the defense or on the offensive side. Maybe see someone besides Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or Gesicki catching the football, running the football, whatever. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I said, we're both picking the Bengals. Next up, the 10-4 Bills going into Cleveland. The Browns are 3-11, 41.5 over under. A 10.5 point spread. Justin, since I picked the last one, I'm gonna let you pick this one, and I already know who you're going with. I'm gonna agree with you too. Who you picking, the Bills or the Browns?
Bills win, Browns cover, but I also think that Myles Garrett breaks the sack record this game. I think that he's got 21.5 sacks. If you want to double check that, fact check to me there. I think that he gets 2 in this game because while I understand the Bills are one of the best running teams in football, you're not going to be able to run much on this Cleveland Browns front four. And that's going to mean that Josh Allen is going to have to play superhuman again at some point. But I do think that the Bills are just good enough to be able to go into the wintry elements of Cleveland because, well, they basically both play on the shores of Lake Erie, and they have to deal with that lake effect snow. So it's not going to really matter, the Bills Mafia, whatever. So I think that the Bills are going to win this game, but I think that the Browns are good enough to somewhat cover. But I do think that I'm watching for the Myles Garrett sack record game. And I think this is going to be it for him. He's going to do it in front of the home crowd. All the Cleveland fans are going to be hurrah, but realize that they're down 21-14 on the scoreboard, and then they're probably going to lose that game. So that's how I see that game playing out.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bills over the Browns, of course. But you know what? I want to highlight this one. This is my nephew Noah. He asked us in the chat if he breaks the sack record, would he be in convo for a legitimate MVP case?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, unfortunately, the MVP doesn't go towards defensive players. Last defensive player to get the MVP. Oh my gosh, was it Ray Lewis?
I don't even know if that was him. It's probably Charles Woodson, maybe potentially, but even then, I still don't even know. But at the end of the day, yeah, this is why it's so hard for defensive players. That's why defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett all day. But even then, there's still contenders for even that award. But no, definitely not MVP. However, I will venture off to say, with 3 or 4 different quarterback changes that the Browns have went through already this year, had the Browns would have had a similar success pattern like they did in 2023, plus Myles Garrett just going crazy, and let's say that he is 30 sacks or whatnot, I think that you can make an argument, but it's not going to be a like open and closed shut argument. He won't even be listed as a finalist in that regard, even just because they know that he's going to be the runaway defensive player of the year candidate. And I think that's just what you got to lean your hopes and dreams on at that point.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean Ray Lewis. The last defensive player to win the MVP of the NFL was no other than doing bumps off hookers' asses, LT Lawrence Taylor. He was the last defensive player to win the MVP of the NFL, being a defensive player. But like
that is crazy.
It's insane. And that's the thing is like I don't see them ever giving another defender the MVP. Unless he's just, he's got 20 interceptions in the season and all this other crazy stuff. He's definitely the defensive player of the year. That's no doubt.
Facts.
But and I can see Noah's kind of his question on this. I can kind of see it. What if Myles Garrett smokes the NFL record for sacks? Like ends up with like 27 and a half sacks or 26 and a half sacks, whatever, something like that. I don't know. It's a good question. It's something to ponder about.
It is something to ponder about for future conversations regarding defensive players because their value is very monumental too. They're just not really talked about as much. But at the end of the day, you got to win games. And the Browns only have 3 wins on the year. That's the argument. You ain't got enough wins to be able to state your case. It's the last year when we had Joe Burrow throwing for 1,000 yards and whatnot, thousands and thousands of yards, whatever, all those touchdowns. Had an MVP caliber season, but you didn't make the playoffs. That's always what that stuff is going to come down to. I do like this question that we got pulled up.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm going to answer your question real quick, Smitty. Smitty asks, starts two wide receivers, Sutton, T. Higgins, Olave, or Myers. I'm definitely starting Sutton.
Sure.
T. Higgins is doubtful for Sunday.
Yeah, put him on the bench.
So I would not start him. Jacoby Myers is playing. Jacoby Myers is playing good football. Olave, that's a question.
You don't know.
I would do Sutton and Myers
I would do Sutton and Myers too. Yeah, same. I don't know what the Saints offense is going. Yeah, I don't know what the Saints offense is going to look like. T. Higgins, he's going to be on the shelf or whatnot. If I'm the Bengals coach staff, man, just hang T. Higgins up for the rest of the season. But I understand, man. Week 14 is around the corner. Or is this week 15? I don't even know.
This is week 15. 16.
Okay, so it's championship round weekend.
Shit, it's week 16. It's week 16.
Golly, yeah, this is definitely championship round of football. But yeah, I don't know if I can trust T. Higgins in this game just because I don't know if he's going to be even playing. He did suffer another
If I was
concussion.
I'll tell you this right now. If I was T. Higgins, I'd be going out there wearing a Guardian cap.
I mean, he probably might, but at the end of the day, like he doesn't have a history of suffering concussions at all, and it just happened to happen this year twice this year. So it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, they did take the proper precautions the last time of just sitting him out from the Prairie game, and then he came back and played. He did miss the Ravens game, but he actually was back at practice. But anyways, yeah, just to keep it quick, Sutton and Myers, those are your two safe bets for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey guys, we're at our 30-minute mark right now. And I know if I don't take a commercial break, Brandon might yell at me if this ends up on Podcast World. So let us take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with you. If you're sitting here watching us on YouTube, you'll see the Be Right Back banner, and then we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, guys. To another week 16 of the NFL season. I know some of y'all are watching to see what crazy picks that we're doing. We had somebody ask us about Myles Garrett and MVP chances. We had somebody ask us about who should he start for fantasy football. Hey, it's a great place to come because we're not just a Running Through the Jungle or a Cincinnati Bengals podcast. Justin and I, we have really a lot of NFL knowledge. So thank you guys for those questions. We appreciate you guys. As always, thank you, Austin, Art. Thank you, Noah, for being here. Thank you, Smitty. Thank you, KP, for KC. Afton, thank you guys for coming. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you share with your friends. We appreciate you guys. We're a small podcast. We're just trying to grow. But let's get back into the show. So we got the Buccaneers versus the Panthers. They're both 7-7. The Buccaneers and Panthers cannot be trusted. It's a 3-point spread, 45.5 over under. Justin, I'm going to, hey, honey, do you have a coin that I can flip and I can see which team I'm going to pick? Yeah, she said in her purse. So I'll have her grab me a coin, and that's how I'm going to pick this matchup. But Justin, go ahead. Who are you picking?
Yeah, while you're going with the coin flip method, I'm going to go with the method of, man, this is a battle for the NFC South lead for the first place. And I think that if you're the Panthers, you're feeling like this is a golden opportunity to snatch success when nobody expected it to. And not saying that nobody's going to pretty much just write you in Super Bowl caliber contenders or maybe even take you seriously in the playoffs. But I think that it is warranted here that you have an opportunity. If you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're just trying to keep the ship afloat because right now you got some holes here and you are sinking fast. You had Baker Mania that just went off the high of an MVP, and he was looking like an MVP candidate for like up to mid-season until they started losing games that they had no business losing. So you got one where the bottom of the ship is falling out, and then the other one that's riding some soaring confidence here. We got into this point in the season to where who's going to snatch the opportunities the most here? I am inclined to pick the team that is riding the hot hand here, even though both teams lost last week.
I'm like, wait a minute, what hot hand are you talking about, bro?
As far as like confidence go, that's what I mean by hot hand. So let me just go with this here. I think I may go and take the Panthers again, even though they've really shot me in the foot picking them or picking against them or picking them to win. I've really kind of been on the wrong end of the stick here. So if you're smart, Tim, and I know you are, you would take the Bucs in this sense and don't even go the coin flip route, because at the end of the day, if you want to sustain your lead and win in this pick'em challenge that we have, you're probably going to want to pick the Bucs because the Panthers has let me down so many times.
Yeah, so you're picking who?
I'm picking the Carolina Panthers. I don't feel good about it. They never make me feel good about the picks, but I think I'm just going to go with the Panthers.
Well, we got Austin saying he's going with the Panthers. My nephew's picking the Panthers.
Okay.
You're picking the Panthers. My coin landed on heads, which was the Buccaneers. So you know what? That's a sign, because you told me that maybe I should just pick the Bucks. I'm going with the Bucks on this because it honestly, it's a freaking coin flip. Like, the Buccaneers should have won games. The Panthers should have won games. It's like, what the hell's going? It's like, it's kind of like watching Bengals football right now. We don't know which one we're going to get. Are we going to get, just slobber knocker football, or are we going to get shitty football? I don't know. So here we are. I'm picking the Bucks over the Panthers. Y'all can have fun with your Panthers pick. I'm winning. I'm going to win this pick. Y'all going to be losers. I'm going with the Bucks.
Hey, I don't blame you, dog. I don't blame you. Like I said, you see, I already admitted that, like, look, I have not been successful picking the Panthers at all this year, or picking against the Panthers. Dude, we both have not had any success picking any of these two teams. Yeah, when it comes to NFC South, period, I think it's been a division that stinks. The Saints, it was always pretty obvious that they can win, but hey, we're going to talk about them here relatively shortly,
a couple games,
because I still don't know if they're going to win that game. But anyways, let's move on, bro. Let's go ahead. We're moving on to Chargers, Cowboys.
We're going on Chargers and the Cowboys. Chargers are 10-4. Cowboys are 6-7-1. 49.5 over under. It's a 1.5 point spread. My heart wants to pick the Chargers because they are the better team and the better defense. The Cowboys, they'll come out there, they'll look like the worst defense in the league, but then they'll come in there and play great defense. Dak Prescott and the boys with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb will go out there and move the football, and next they're beating the Eagles. The Chargers, they've been playing pretty good ball. They just beat the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago. Before that, they beat didn't they beat the Eagles too? So
yeah, they beat the Eagles, yeah.
I'm gonna just go ahead and go with the one that should win the game, and I'm gonna pick the Chargers. The Chargers have the better defense. I can't depend. Their offense is just kind of like mediocre right now. I know they suffered a lot of offensive line injuries. Justin Herbert's dealing with his left hand injury. He had surgery. He's still playing with it. But I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Justin, who you going with?
I can easily see the Cowboys winning in the spot, but man, you know what? I'm going to go with the confidence level of the Chargers defense and the running game right now, and their throws to Oronde Gadsden, the tight end. I think that they have it here. I know they're on the road in this game, but I think that the Chargers are playing with confidence, and they are playing like a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs if you were to match up with against that defense. Now, are they the Houston Texans defense? No. Do I trust him to make noise in the playoffs? Again, no. But I like Jim Harbaugh, and I like the culture that he's instilled. You can tell that he has that, I want to run the ball, I want to establish an identity, and I want to be able to play great defense. The Chargers have both of those. And so while I know I didn't really need to mention Justin Herbert, he's right now has adjusted his game to where you don't really need to rely on him to throw the ball across the yard, even though he has like superior arm talent amongst his NFL peers as well too at quarterback. I'm not picking this game because I believe in Justin Herbert at all. I'm picking this game because I think that they have done exactly what Jim Harbaugh want to create and build this team. And it didn't take long before we saw the success pattern come through for Jim Harbaugh, and it's here. So this is a test that will tell me, because typically the Chargers are with the Brandon Staley era or just a normal Justin Herbert-led team that without a Jim Harbaugh, they lose this game in this spot. I don't pick them to win this game. And they can still very well lose this game, because it's not like I don't believe in the Cowboys. I still like the Cowboys. They're favored by a coin flip for a reason. But I think that if I'm going to believe in somebody down the stretch over these last few weeks of the season before the playoffs start, it's the Chargers. They're not comfortable in their spot. They got to play for playoff positioning when it comes to the wild card team, because they don't want to have to go on the road in an environment where they're going to just go one and done. They want to be in the best suitable position, and that's the 5 seed when you take on the leader of the AFC North, whoever wins that terrible division. The Chargers want to be one of those spots to get that, and you got to keep winning out. So I think they do win out here. They win this game here, I should say.
All right. Next one up is another shit show. We have the Chiefs 6-8 versus the 2-12 Titans. It's a 3-point spread. 37.5. Ooh, that's a low score. 37.5 over under. Justin, who you picking? The Mahomes-less Chiefs or the rookie for the Titans?
So it's more than just the Mahomes-less Chiefs. The Chiefs are also not going to have Rashee Rice. They're also going to have not going to have Trent McDuffie, and then the slew of other people. They're just going to just sit this one out. My gut tells me is that they're all going to just play it safe with this one here, and maybe the Chiefs still win this game. But I think that the Titans may sneak off and get an upset victory here. It's not going to mean nothing to me. It's going to mean something by virtue of, oh, we beat the Chiefs, but you didn't really beat the Chiefs, okay? You beat the backups of the Chiefs. So I'll go with the Titans here in an upset win, but it's not going to feel like an upset win. It's going to look like it on the scoreboard that, oh, we beat the Chiefs. But like I said, you're not really playing the real Chiefs. The Chiefs almost feel like that they're going to just mill it in and play the conservative route, because they don't have Mahomes here. They're already out of the playoffs picture. And yeah, it's done. They're probably writing the season off here. So that's why I'm going to go with the Titans. I think we see a little bit of flashiness from Cam Ward, but again, it's not going to be a real true test for me, because at the end of the day, you're not seeing the real Chiefs on this field here. So, but give me the Titans.
All right. Yeah, so the Chiefs have Chanel out, McDuffie, Jalen Moore, Rashee Rice, Jawan Taylor, Tyquan Thornton, Breen Stool, whoever the hell that is, and Najee Johnson is out, and Derek Nadi, whatever his name is.
Nadi.
Yeah, they got a lot of people that are out. I think you're on to something, and I was going to pick the Chiefs to win this game. Man, it's in Tennessee, which it really doesn't matter because it's the Titans that we're talking about and the Chiefs. Man, I'm going to say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to pick the Mahomes-less Chiefs to win this game, because why not? The Chiefs over the Titans.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah,
keep it simple. Yes. Next one up. Here we go. The 3-11 Jets versus the 4-10 Saints. 40.5 over under. The 6.5 point spread. Justin, I'm going with the Saints this week. Saints. I think this is the only time I've picked the Saints to win a game all season long. I'm picking the Saints because the Jets, I don't know who's the starting quarterback over there. I don't know what's going on over there. The Saints, at least they have Show or Shot or whatever his name is. Shuck, whatever. I don't know whatever the F his name is. I about said the F word. But I'm going with the Saints over the Jets. Justin, who are you taking?
And this is where to that one guy's fantasy question is that this is why you probably want to consider Olave a little bit here, because of the matchup that he's going to go against. I can see that, of course, Olave can put up numbers here, but that don't mean I believe in the Saints offense and that he's just going to get his numbers no matter what. I am going to pick the Saints too. I'm with you. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Jets. Not like I think that I'm feeling pretty confident in the Saints either by any means, but it's one of those things is that this game could be pretty entertaining for two bad teams going against each other, and you probably might as well just go with the whole. Yeah, I figured it was Brady Cook, but I thought that at least Tyrod Taylor would be back at least or something, but guess not. But yeah, this is going to be an entertaining game. Two bad teams making it for a fun game in New Orleans. I think it's probably safe to pick the Saints in this one.
All right, next one up: Vikings versus the Giants. 6-8 Giants, or excuse me, 6-8 Vikings versus the 2-12 Giants. 2.5 point spread, 43.5 over under. I'm just going to go ahead and say it real quick. I'm picking the Vikings over the Giants. Giants have just been blah. So, Justin, who you taking?
I'm also going to take the Vikings. The Giants, again, they were fun midseason story for a little bit with, the Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart and their brotherly bonding and friendship. And throw Theo Johnson in there. Malik Neighbors, he was also fun. They're a fun to watch team that you can invest in looking forward in next year. It's just not this year anymore. Their fire has gone out. Their light is now dim. They got to just play the string out to be able to get to the back end of the year. Meanwhile, the Vikings have caught a little bit of resurgence here with JJ McCarthy. I know I've been very critical of this kid since he just kind of like gone off of that alter ego stupid nickname, and it's just never kind of worked out for him. But I think I at least will pick the Vikings in this game because I do think that Brian Flores is going to make his head coaching candidate mark in this game about how great his defense can be, even if it's not really a lot of names that you may know on that side of the ball there. So yeah, keeping it simple though. Also, give me the Giants. Give me the Vikings. Whoa, that's not simple. Give me the Vikings.
I was like, what the hell? All right, Vikings. Next up is your 4:05 game. Falcons are 5-9 versus the 3-11 Arizona Cardinals. 3-point spread, 48.5 over under. Justin, out of these two birds, which one are you taking?
Yeah, another one of those games where it's like bad teams make for an entertaining game. This could be like one of those weird shootout environments. So I think I might want to invest in taking the over when it comes to total points. That's allotted for this game. What is that, 48.5? I think I might want to take the over in that game just because both teams with their quarterbacks and their weapons, they could put up points. And I don't like either of the team's defenses for this season. But I think that I like them building for the future next year because they both got some good pieces. I think I might go with the Cardinals here. Ooh. I don't know why. It's weird. I like Bijan Robinson. It's one of those things where I can see a weirdly high-scoring game, but I think I like the Cardinals here. I think I do. I think that we might see the Cardinals get one more win, opportunistic win out of them this year. It might be this week. It might be the following week when they have to go to Cincinnati. One of those two games, they could be able to steal one. And I think they probably steal it here.
Yeah, you could be right because, the Falcons, they've been kind of night and day. Bijan will still, put up 25 fantasy points and they'll still lose the football game. Kirk Cousins is, I believe he's still their starting quarterback because Michael Penix is still injured.
Correct.
So, but I don't want to give up on old Kirk. I like Kirk Cousins. And I do. I like him personally. I know he's not. I know you said that he's, dumpster fire and he needs to go away. And, I like Kirk Cousins. I always have. And I'm not a big Cardinals fan. My nephew here, Noah Miller, is a big Cardinals fan. And, he's a big Kyler Murray supporter and all this stuff. Well, Kyler Murray's at home playing Call of Duty. So, but with that,
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, they have Jacoby Brissett. I think I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons on this one. Bijan Robinson. If you look at if you go offense versus offense, the best player on the field is Bijan Robinson. So, and then you look at the Falcons defense, they can be pretty good every once in a while. So I'm going to go with the Falcons over the Cardinals for this one.
All right.
Let's see here. Next one up. Ooh, the 10-4 Jaguars versus the 12-2 Broncos. 47.5 over under, 3.5 point spread. You know what? I'm picking the Jaguars over the Broncos. I think the Broncos win streak stops. I think Trevor Lawrence and crew and ETN, I think they put up enough points, offensive points, to actually stop the Broncos. The Broncos offense, like I said, I've said this week after week after week, they're getting away with these games and they're winning. I know they have the Broncos have a good defense, don't get me wrong. But the Jaguars are just on another level. I think they put it in fifth gear and they're going to win this football. Justin, I know you can call me crazy, but who are you taking?
Well, you're not crazy. This is one of those games where you did not expect when the season unfolded that this was going to be one of the heavyweight matchups in this game. For this year. The Jags are leaders of the AFC South. The Broncos are the leaders of the AFC West. Who would have thought that? I didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought both teams was going to finish maybe at best third place in their respective divisions. I think that this is going to be the t-shirt and hats game for the Denver Broncos to when they've been announced the AFC West champions, and that's who I'm going to go with today.
Fair
I
enough.
do believe that they are overall the better team. And for
Yeah.
much of the questions that I've had with Bo Nix, I do think that he rights the ship against another tough-ish Jags defense. They got those boys flying around over there, Liam Cohen and Tom. He again, one of those things was like you got two pretty damn good head coaches. Liam Cohen in his first year outing with the Jags, he's kind of got this team right and playing with some confidence here. But you got Sean Payton that's been there, done this, and he understands how to build a culture. Kind of like what I've already said about Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. I like exactly what Sean Payton has built. When you think of the Denver Broncos, who was led by Sean Payton, that's who you think of first before you think of Bo Nix. Then you think of the defense after Sean Payton, and then you get into the weapons. You don't really think of Bo Nix, okay? That's kind of like how it's been when it comes to Andy Dalton and his highest of highs that he experienced in his Bengals career early enough in Cincinnati. That's kind of like where I'm seeing where Bo Nix is at. I think Bo Nix is better than Andy Dalton, but I think that overall, I like the team around Bo Nix, and I believe that they clinched the AFC West this week because at the end of the day, if they win this game, I mean, especially if the Chargers lose, but if they win this game, you can pretty much just call it that the division's there. So let me go with the Broncos.
All right, next one up is the Raiders versus the Texans. Raiders are 2-12, and with the hot defense, Texans 9-5, 37.5 over under 14.5 point spread. Justin, I'm gonna shoot it over to you. I'm gonna agree with you 100%. But who you taking?
Texans. Not even gonna waste no time. The Raiders are going to be just not even waste no time. The Raiders, to me, like I said this plenty. They're the team I believe that are going to pick number one overall in the draft this year. Houston.
All right, yeah, I'm going with the Texans as well. I'm not going to waste any time on that. Next up is our 425 game. Steelers are going into Detroit. The 8-6 Steelers and the 8-6 Lions. 52.5 over under. A 7-point spread. Justin, who you picking?
Lions. I think this is where Steelers fans are going to crash out. They've kind of gone on their high horse a little bit with the back-to-back wins at Baltimore and home against Miami. But I said it last week. The reason why I picked the Miami Dolphins, picked the Steelers last week was because the Dolphins, people were bringing too much into their resurgence, and I even made recognition of it. But when it comes to cold weather season, bro, I just don't like that team. Period. They're too much of a finesse team. They don't know how to play smash mouth football. They did run the ball okay enough in that game, but they just couldn't get out of their own way. Just like how it has always been against other AFC North teams that they've seen this year. So yeah, let me just go with the Lions in this one because they actually do have a coach that knows how to run the ball. They actually do have a opportunistic enough defense to be able to get some turnovers. And I do think that the Lions do want to get after Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been playing pretty good lately as far as the last couple of weeks go. Since that Bills loss that the Steelers have taken, they've really kind of developed a nice culture win for Mike Tomlin these last couple of weeks. But I think it ends here. I think that this is where one of those losses that if you were a Bengals fan, you were hoping that the Steelers was going to take a nosedive win. This was the week that you were hoping that they lose that game on top of maybe losing one of the two previous weeks. But this was the game that I've always had circled that this is a loss for them. And I'm going to stick with it. I think Detroit is the better team, clearly. And I think that they're the better offense. And they still got to be able to have a puncher's chance because right now they're out of the playoff picture if you're looking at the Lions. You got the Packers and the Bears in front of you. You got to win. And you can't lose this game. So that's another element of this is that the Lions got to get it back into the playoff race because right now they're out of it. And it starts with beating the Steelers at home, which I know that they are capable of doing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's not just because I hate the Steelers, but the Lions are going to be, it seems like every other week, Jahmyr Gibbs is getting 2 or 3 touchdowns a game. This is the last week he didn't get 2 or 3 touchdowns. This week, I think Jahmyr Gibbs gets 2 or 3 or 2 or 3 touchdowns this week. And it's like I said, it's not any hate towards the Steelers on this game, but solely as a NFL fan looking into this game, I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to stop the Detroit Lions because they are on this mission to try to get a wild card spot. They really have to win. The Lions have to win this game, and I see them winning this game. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be an easy game. It's probably gonna be about 10-point game. I'm gonna say 10-point game, but yeah, I'm taking the Detroit Lions over the Steelers. Next one up, the Patriots versus the Ravens. That is the Sunday night football game at 8:20. Patriots are 11-3. Ravens are 7-7. 49.5 over under. It's a 3-point spread. The Patriots, they've been playing good football. They met their match last week against the Bills. That's the Bills and Josh Allen. Josh Allen, he's been wearing his Superman cape for the last couple of weeks. They were up 20 or 24 points or whatever the hell it was on the Bills. Yeah, they were up on the Bills last week, and the Bills just had a little bit more in the tank, and the Bills pulled it off against the Patriots. But I believe the Patriots win this game, and they beat the Ravens. The Ravens just are still questionable to me. I know that they 24-0'd Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals last week, but I still don't believe in the Ravens and what they got going on. So I'm picking the Patriots over the Ravens in Baltimore. Justin, who are you taking?
Both AFC North teams are going to lose this week, the Ravens and the Steelers. I think that the Patriots are clearly the better team. And yes, while I believe that the Ravens could have pulled off the upset on the road, at home against New England, I saw them last week when we watched the Bengals and the Ravens play. And yes, people are going to put a lot of emphasis on the shutout victory that they had, but that was more about how bad the Bengals were and how much that they've checked out, more so than the Ravens. I didn't think Lamar Jackson was all that spectacular. He only threw the ball 12 times in that game. Mm-hmm. And it was just more so about like the Bengals, they just wasn't themselves. Joe Burrow wasn't himself. And I just think that there's still something off when it comes to this Ravens offense. Now, I get it. They do know how to run the ball, but I think that the Patriots are a much more disciplined, well-coached defense than they're going to have to deal with. Now, and the Bengals defense actually played good against the Ravens offense last week. It was just that the Bengals offense let them so far down last week that it's just you gifted the Ravens an extra 7 points with that pick six that they had. Again, one of those things is like, as a Bengals fan, I don't know what the hell was going on, what they were thinking there. But this Patriots team is very well coached. And yes, they still got to keep pace and get this win here because the Bills are nipping on their heels.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw the rest of the schedule, but it doesn't look like Buffalo's going to lose anytime soon. And they are one of the hottest teams in the playoff hunt right now that you just do not want to face. They got the whole map laid out in front of Buffalo right now. There's no Mahomes for Josh Allen to have to overcome. There's no Joe Burrow. And if the Ravens lose this game, you can probably pencil in that there's not going to be a Lamar Jackson. So this AFC is going to be wide open for Josh Allen to get to the Super Bowl. And if you're the New England Patriots, if you drop this game, you are going to hand deliver the Bills an opportunity to come right back and steal the division of the AFC East division for the 6th straight year in a row for them. You do not want to do that. So you better get your stuff together and win this game. I still think the world of the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel is one hell of a coach. He should be a shoe-in for Coach of the Year honorees. And I do have them winning this game. And so 7 was that okay, no, it's a 3-point. So the Ravens are favoring this game. I think that that's just really a home game spread. You automatically give 3 points when you're at home. But I think it's right for this to be a coin flip game. But I do think that the Patriots do win outright. That's my personal opinion.
The Patriots are favored by 3.
Oh, okay. So the Patriots are getting 3.5, getting 3.
The Ravens
are giving
the Patriots are giving 3 points to the Ravens.
Gotcha. The Patriots are giving 3 points. Okay, I get those things mixed up all the time. But bottom line is, give me the Patriots.
Yeah, you were saying, so the Patriots have the Ravens, the Jets, and the Dolphins left. The Bills have the Browns, the Eagles, and the Jets. So
again, one of those things I don't think that they're going to lose out. I think that they're going to win.
You could be right, but
both of them going to win out.
Yeah, the Eagles could play spoilers next week, though. Who knows?
They certainly could. They certainly could. They absolutely certainly could.
But we'll talk about that next week. But I just was letting you, but yeah, I think the Patriots, the Patriots could definitely win out the Bills. There's a chance they could win out or lose one of those games. Anyways, next up in the final game, and Noah, tell your dad I'm on a podcast right now. Stop calling me. Come on, tell him. But anyways, last game up is the Monday Night Football game. The 10-4 49ers versus the 8-6 Colts. It's a 46.5 over under, 5.5 point spread. Justin, the 49ers, they're playing some good football, even with the injuries that they have. The Colts brought old man Rivers out of retirement to play the foosball. He said, I know how to play the foosball. So, they suited him up. He played okay last week. He played okay. They didn't get monkey stomped like I thought they were going to get. They got beat. What was it, 18-16? I think it's what it was against the Seahawks.
18-16.
He played okay. But you know what? I don't give a shit if it's Phillip Rivers out there or not. I'm picking the 49ers over the Colts this Sunday. Justin, cook, baby. You know what? Tell us who you're picking. 49ers or the Colts?
In my head, it obviously tells me the San Francisco 49ers should be able to win this game outright. They're obvious favorites to win here. But, man, something's just bugging at me and gnawing at me and thinking that the Colts may actually pull off this win here. Their season's not done. There's a reason why they went out and got Phillip Rivers. It's because they don't look at that their season is done and that the answers at the quarterback position were not currently on a roster. And to what you just said, I don't think he looked that bad, even though he still looked old. He just didn't look that bad. Dude, this is probably going to be the most stupidest pick that I make this week, but I think I'm going to go with the Colts here.
Oh, doggy.
I think I'm going to do it. Just screw it. I'm already bad with my picks already. I'm already falling behind, but if my gut tells me correctly, Phillip Rivers actually produces the Colts' first win as a starting quarterback, and that will probably may be the biggest higher point of the season for them, and he'll shut the naysayers up as that, hey, the Colts made the good move on bringing him out of retirement 5 years after he literally played his last NFL snap. But yeah, man, I don't feel good about it, but this is just that gut gnawing feeling that it's like if you pick the 49ers, they will probably burn you again because you haven't been really good at your picks this year, especially in the last several weeks. Even though, like you said, we still got winning records or whatnot, it's not hard to really pick some of these games. This is one of those where I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit and then just be bold and take the upset here. Give me the Indianapolis Colts. Phillip Rivers gets his first win as a starting quarterback for Indianapolis.
Oof, I'm gonna share a little something with our chat and our listeners here. So this is kind of like how Justin's day went here. He started off good with his NFL picks. He did great. And then he dropped his bottle of Crown and it splashed everywhere. And he picks the Colts to win over the 49ers. What the heck? Are you sitting there drinking right now while we're streaming?
I am. I got a glass of wine and I've been sipping on it all game long.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just blame it on that. But anyways, everybody, that's the show. Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share with your friends, you share with your neighbors, girlfriends, boyfriends, cousin down the street. But Justin, before we go, Christmas season is here next Thursday. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Merry Christmas to our chat family, our Running Through the Jungle family. Brandon, if you're listening, Merry Christmas, buddy. I know I'll be able to talk to you next week anyways. But everybody have a safe, wonderful holiday. Make sure you are, you give hugs and kisses to your mama and your dada. And if your grandparents are still alive, your brothers and sisters, make sure you tell them that you love them every single day. Justin, thank you again as always for being on the show. You got anything to share with us before we go?
Hey, you know what? Hey, like you said, we're in a holiday season. We're very much giving people, and just embrace your loved ones, man. The holidays are not blessed for everybody and around this time of year. So if you got people that you celebrate Christmas or whatever you celebrate, whether it's Kwanzaa, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Kwanzaa, whatever the case it may be, man, happy holidays to you and to everybody out there. We definitely appreciate all of the love and support. Again, like you said already earlier, man, we're growing. We're trying to be able to start something nice here. It's been a fun pick'em show. We're just having fun on this as we ride out the rest of the coattails of the 2025 regular season, man, and going into the playoffs. Appreciate you, Tim, for always, doing what you're doing, being consistent on Run Through the Jungle as well, too.
Thank you, bro.
And I appreciate you all, our listeners, whether if you're listening to us live or you're going to listen to us later on the audio platform version. You don't catch the live stream. Sorry that you didn't catch us during that point of time because we be cooking in the live chats and stuff. And I see that you guys was cooking as well. But, man, I wish everybody a happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all.
Thank you guys so much for listening or watching Running Through the Jungles NFL Friday night pick'em show. Have a great weekend.